Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and today I'm looking at an interesting book on the future of the legal profession, if you like, and the legal world as we know it, because there are a lot of changes taking place. The book I'm reviewing is from Mitchell Kowalski in North America, and Mitch has asked me to do this review, and I was delighted to do so because I think this is an important book. The title of the book is The Great Legal Reformation, and it's got some notes from the field as the subtitle, which is, I think, of some help. It's actually published by an organisation called iUNIVERSE, which is an interesting publication outlet in its own way. This is the book here, and it says on the front cover, I'll show you, that's the spine and that's the back. But on the front cover, describes Mitch as author of the critically acclaimed Avoiding Extinction, Reimagining Legal Services for the 21st Century. Then there's a quote from Richard Susskind as well. Quote, a well-researched, accessible and fascinating collection of dispatches from the cutting edge of legal business by Professor Richard Susskind. As I say, that's the book. It's a light book. It's only a paperback. It runs to something approaching 175 pages. There's some various useful bits and pieces at the back, recognised reading websites and so forth. And then there's bibliography, which is included as well with reports and publications from books and everything else. The road ahead, which is quite important, is right at the end of the work. The beginning of the book is a very nice little comment to us from him there. And then the book, The Great Legal Reformation, notes from the field. You can see the details there. Mitch is the inaugural Gowling WLG visiting professor in legal innovation at the University of Calgary Law School. There's the detail about the book, and then there's a dedication, which I'll just show you. Then we have the book itself. There's some quotes from George Bernard Shaw, unfortunately, for some. People who say it cannot be done should not interpret those who are doing it. Very much Shavian for the start off. Parts 1 and 2 therefore set out with the various chapter headings, and then parts 3 and 4 on the pages there, looking at where we're going. As I say, as Susskind said, this is dispatches, if you like, from the cutting edge of legal business. And the preface sets out in some detail what he's really looking to achieve with this book. And then we've got the actual preface is dated the 1st of August. Then we get into the introduction itself. It's a book that you can just read straight through. There's no footnoting, no paragraph numbering, nothing like that. But it's a very interesting book, and I think one that is really quite important for all of us. It's one that you can read on the train going from A to B, and once you sort of zip through it, you'll see the basic points that he's putting forward. Now, I've given for the book review title the following: without question, an important book for our times. As a profession, you need this short book to face the 21st century armed and prepared. Now, that sounds a bit dramatic, but I mean, the point is that we are actually entering a big change. I think an awful lot of people are totally unprepared for it. It's towards the end of my working life. So I'm really looking at it from the point of view of people who are just beginning their legal activities, and really trying to assist them with some idea of where we're going. Not that we've got that much indication, because who would have known the way in which email and the internet have taken over our lives, and the whole way in which things could change again quite quickly in the course of the next decade. And I say that because of the march of artificial intelligence, which is A, not understood by many people, and B, who are afraid of it, and probably C, the fact that they're not prepared to recognise that there will be a lot of lost jobs and a lot of other problems which could well develop, which we don't even really foresee at the moment. But I'm not in the art of prescience here. What I'm going to do is talk about the book, because I say, yes, we are at a tipping point of change for legal matters, and I think that's global. And it's therefore refreshing that Mitch Kowalski's book does not look simply to advances in technology and artificial intelligence as the cause or the future of the Great Legal Reformation, as he terms it, but to so much more at this technological crossroads. And that's really the basic point, because he's calling it a Great Legal Reformation, but it's actually bigger than that, frankly. But this is very much a contribution as to where we're going. People like Susskind and many other commentators have added their points, but I think that's an important first step along this new road that we're going. So do start Mitch's book by reading his preface and introduction carefully, which sets the scene for you as to where we are today with all these reforming changes. Through in-depth case studies and vignettes, Kowalski takes us on a tour to meet some of the trailblazers breaking the legal service provider mould, allowing us to eavesdrop on his conversations with them, so very much dispatches from the field. Now, I'm saying all that because, again, I think one of the important things that we must be aware of is that there are very, very big changes about to occur. But they'd be very clear about the position. The Great Legal Reformation is not just a glimpse into the future of how he and others might see the legal world developing as the Great Legal Reformation unfolds. It's also an insight into the here and now, and into what these innovators have already envisaged and achieved. And as the author goes on to say, these are the platforms from which yet further innovation and reformation of the market will be driven. And of course, that is the point. The client will often drive things. They'll make the decision as to what they're going to do with a particular piece of litigation, or how a particular problem, they will make the decision on advice as to how a particular problem will be dealt with. So you do see that when they're driven, they are the people who make the final push, if you like, in whichever direction we're going. Now, the book covers a number of legal topics of the day, which we can quote from Mitch's book, and that's from the power and opportunity of regulatory change to enable structural change, access to capital, and the participation of people who happen not to be lawyers, that's the unrepresented parties, through to the needs to focus on efficiency, continuous improvement, process, and project management. And it also includes the enduring value of vision, culture, values, leadership, energy, and employee engagement, plus studies and conversations which inform, reveal, and challenge. And that's his mission statement, and that's really what you're getting with the book. Now, probably some of the English is a little bit heavy there, but you can see generally where he's coming from. And in other words, what I say, it's a pretty substantial review with much reforming zeal incorporated. At least that's what I felt when I read the book. Now, Kowalski doesn't just present the new world through rose-tinted glasses, I've heard that expression rather a lot, or deny the existence of risk. He goes further with useful case studies. The story of Slater and Gordon's mixed fortunes are recounted by Mitch amongst other stories in testament to the point that he's making here. And he shows a different way of thinking and acting, and that actually is very much what many commentators are putting forward at the moment. It's this concept of the way we would probably be thinking and acting in the future, which will be, again, I'm using the word driven, but it will be driven by IT changes, and I'm sure that's right. Whether lawyers like it or not, then, these are initiatives that buyers of legal services have got to bear in mind, I suggest, when they consider where we're actually going. Now, the conclusion in chapter 12 may be prescient when Mitch says that when legal historians look back at this period of time, 50 years from now, they will conclude that the ultimate legacy of the Great Legal Reformation will be the transformation of legal services from a lawyer-dominated industry into a service that is merely augmented by lawyers. That's an interesting possible development, and one that I will leave you with. Anyway, a big thank you to Mitch Kowalski for this thought-provoking thesis. And as I say, I think there are going to be a lot more coming along in this vein in the future. The book was published on the 13th of September 2017, and I'm recording it in the autumn. Let's have a quick look at it again. There's the paperback. There we go. It's only a very small book. There's some nice quotes on the back from various people, which I've mentioned. And what you've got inside, you've got 170 odd pages in total. Just opening it up in the middle, he's looking very much at the various areas that he's been involved in. Probably some of them won't be particularly directly something you recognise, but bear with him, read through the book, and you get some idea of perhaps giving you a little bit of thinking about where we're going in the future. Many thanks, Mitch, and to all concerned in the development of this book, which I think is a great contribution to where we're going at the moment. All the very best. Bye-bye.